Well, it was bound to happen for Better Call Saul. Wexler versus Goodman. So here, where we see the problems with Kim going down the dark path that Saul Goodman leads her into, but he really isn't leading her into it. She's chosen this completely, and when it blows up in her face, what does she do? She blames Jimmy. Well, look, it's all her fault. She doesn't really have an argument here. He does what he does. What he does here in this episode. Oh, God. It's so hilarious. You gotta see it. He utilizes old footage of Mesa Verde. The guy, the CEO of it, his father founded the company, and back when he was a kid, he and his dad did this commercial for it, and it's this old film commercial, and he's all in his cowboy getup and everything, and Saul Goodman gets his little film crew to make an ad. And, oh, you just gotta see it. Oh, geez. I still laughing about it. It's so good. He pulls this stunt, and that's what Saul Goodman's all about, his little stunts that are clever and witty and considerably damaging, but at the same time so damn funny. So he pulls this on Mesa Verde, and Kim is just humiliated like this. But the reason he did it was because she was in danger. Rich, part of the team, was very suspicious. It's pretty obvious. I mean, your boyfriend is the opposing attorney, and she obviously had reservations about going forward and taking this old man's house away from him and all that. And she brought Jimmy in to try to find a way to save this guy, even though she tried to go through legitimate means to try to change their minds on this. And Jimmy even warns her, he says, this is as far as it can go. If we go any further, it's going to get dirty and nasty. And she's like, let's do it. And, well, so it does kind of blow up there, and she's furious. And maybe that's the telling, because they give a flashback scene here, not the one of Saul in black and white working at Cinnabon. No, this is about Kim as a little girl. Her mother apparently was an alcoholic, and she's been waiting at school after, I guess, band practice or something like that, and waiting for mom to come pick her up. And mom shows up, and she's been drinking, and it's late at night, it's cold and everything, and Kim, and I've known people like this when I was a kid who had to become the adults. Their parents weren't the adults, and boy, this really hits close to home for a girl I knew. But yes, this is what happens, and this little girl kind of realizes, I'm not getting in the car, Mom, you're drunk, and the mom cusses her out. So this is the origins of Kim she's a broken person like everyone else in the world of Better Call Saul, and of course later Breaking Bad. But this is what it gives you an inkling of that, and that's gives you where the cracks in her flaws and whatnot, and that she's a decent, good-hearted person, but she chooses wrongly. And here she chose this pathway with Jimmy or Saul Goodman. And now she's all upset. So is she really mad at Saul? Or is she really mad at herself for not holding the line? And especially to the point that Goodman, he said, look, if you go any further, it's going to be nasty, So, and that's exactly what happened. So it's so damn funny. But tragic, of course, for the relationship. And, of course, she says, we either got to part company, and then she just blurts it out, we need to get married. And and that's the emotional thing, because she loves Jimmy, she wants to be with him, And Jimmy, is like, oh well, he's the cold one or whatnot. He's not, and actually, he's like, look, this was how I'm protecting you, by humiliating you like this. It's obvious we weren't in cahoots, and by that measure, since she didn't know what his plan of attack was, he literally spells it out. Is like, and it's true. This was actually one of his most honest moves, because what they were doing and what she agreed to do, and it was really her idea ultimately, is highly unethical, and she was looking at serious trouble here, and really this was probably the only way for Goodman to save her like this, which he did. Of course, it's still unethical and all of that, but that's what happened here. But she recognizes the dark path that it is, and it disgusts her while it excites her, and why she, wants Jimmy and all this sort of thing. And at the same time, he loves her and wants her too, but, they're both broken people in their own way, and we get this little window in her past that it had to do with, her mother and whatnot. And for Jimmy, of course, it was the relationship with him and his brother and that whole story, which is still dogging him. And his brother's gone, but he's taking out all his frustrations on poor stupid Howard. And oh God, he pulls yet another stunt. Oh, gee. What he does to Mesa Verde is even funnier, because this kind of gag I've seen before, what he does to Howard. So there's that. Meanwhile, the other story with Mike and Nacho and all that, they're still trying to take out the Salamanca guy, and looks like they're well on their way to doing just that. But interestingly enough, Nacho now, Gus sets it up and says, you'll be dealing with Mike here from now on, and he represents me and what have you, so okay. But then Nacho's like, hey, you realize who this is, don't you? And Mike says, you knew what you were doing, you walked into this, don't look for sympathy from him. Even though Mike understands, and the guy says, the only reason I'm here is because he's got a gun to my father's head, and my father didn't ask for any of this. And it's kind of this weird mirror where Mike is looking at him, and you see that, and because this is what happened to Mike. Of course, it was the mirror, meaning that it was his son who paid the price for his being a dirty cop and all that. And so now Nacho's father is going to pay the price for his criminal life. And so Mike is sympathetic and understands that, but it's like, well, he says, look, we'll deal with this, mission we're on to ruin the Salamanca guy and the rest of them. And then maybe, but I don't think it's going to end well for poor Nacho and, or his father either, who is truly an innocent man and broken-hearted because he knows what his son is up to, and he, is just breaking his heart, and his son's just trapped, and he's desperate to keep his father alive and save him, but it's probably too late. So, oh God, what a great show. I mean, it just delivers all the time, and I'm not even getting close to detailing it, and I don't really want to because it spoils it. You need to go watch it and treat yourself with that. So with quite a few shows I follow now that are just very disappointing, it's always good. This one is like a palate cleanser, if you will. It really it's such a breath of fresh air. So yeah, once again, another home run for Better Call Saul. Thank you for watching and listening. Say, why not like and subscribe? Sure, why not? You're here already. And check out that link description below. That'll take you to my stores. Now, at those stores, they have, the usual stuff. T-shirts, some hats, some stickers, pins. If you want little pictures of my artwork on it with a pin, check it out. And, of course, head over to indieplanet.com where you can get your hands on my comic book, Night Night. Oh, yes, you don't want to miss out on that. And, of course, you can also catch my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, over at radiomisfits.com. And, of course, you can watch videos like these also on that other platform, BitChute.